Hey guys, Boomfish TCG here, back at it again with another video. And this time we are going to be looking at something that's really weird. Alright, this is a strange deck. So, this is Beast Sekka, I guess. That's what we can define this as. That's a good start. So, Beast Sekka is the best performing deck that exists in Japan for the format. For some reason, some B-Sekka guy did really well, and I mean it, at the really large 800-person Japanese event. I believe it got top 32. And this is the list. If you're at all familiar with B-Sekka, this is going to look quite familiar to you. But if you're not, stay tuned, folks, because it is a very fun, cool, and strange kind of game plan, because there's a card in this deck that I never thought someone would be able to top with. Okay, so we'll start. Starting out with Nature's Guidance. Very simple. 1 mana bounce spell, draw. It's a staple of Forest. We're not going to dwell on this too much. It's been a fight ever since this card came out for Forest players to agree on if they want to play 3 of it, play 2. And this guy decided to play 2. I can't really argue. It's totally up to you how you think you need that. You're playing the 1 Sukuna. This seems to be pretty standard in Forest lists these days, just to try and push your Evo cards to then allow yourself to auto Evo your Purify. And in that instance, Sukuna is really nice. It's not doing its big combo effect anymore. It's just there as a cheap Evo that does something that's pretty good. So it's good. Moving on, we have Shamu and Shama, Posh Felines, I guess. So this is 1 mana 1/1 Storm. Fanfare, if you have combo 5, you ping something for 3. Forget about that. The most important part about here is the effect that you're going to be resolving the most is Strike, combo 3, give this +1/+1. So oftentimes you can kind of loop this card in the same turn. There's going to be a few times where you play it, swing for 1, bounce it, replay it, swing for 2. That's a really solid turn, I'm going to be honest. Because being able to Nature's Guidance something and just reuse it like that is pretty useful. Oftentimes in the previous formats, you could do that with Sukuna, Brave, and Small, and you would feel really strong about that because you're going to be able to, let's say, swing with the Sukuna, it lives a turn, and then you swing with it again. The follow-up turn, you bounce it with Nature's Guidance, play it, Evo it, you've dealt 6 damage for your first 2 turns. You know, that's a really good start and might be able to push you just over the edge in those slower matchups if they start to get a hold of the gameplay. So it's quite nice. 3 of it makes sense because it's just unconditional, and it also is a beast, where Sukuna is not, it's just a hunter. Then moving on, we have Sekka. You know, the namesake of the deck, I'm guessing. And it's a 1 mana 1/1. You take a look at the top 3, grab a 2 cost or less, add it, and then you discard a card. What can I say? Very nice. The deck still struggles from the same problem of you don't have a way of getting Sekka to the grave unless your opponent is very, very nice to you and is very polite, and they kill it. If they banish it, if they put it back to the bottom of your deck or shuffle it into your deck, you're screwed. So when you're playing this and you need to depend on the second part of this, please be safe around those Angel Sword players. Let us say a prayer that your Sekka will never be banished by those mean, mean people. But if it is, c'est la vie. Oftentimes, if you're able to resolve Sekka's search effect and then discard 1 from the hand, that is the best outcome for you, because that means you at least have guaranteed 1 for your gameplay. If you take a look at the list, we are not running any of the standard banish cards that you would normally associate with a Sekka list. Clearly, it didn't need that, but that's the confusing part about this. This deck is quite interesting in that aspect. I guess it didn't need it. We're going to find out. So yeah, 3 Sekka makes sense. It's a nice tutor ability. You're able to get what you want. And also, it's a decent endgame plan, so who cares? Then moving on, we have Cheshire Cat. A really funny card, I'm going to be honest. It's a 1 mana 1/2. Oftentimes, you're simply going to ping the opponent in the face for 1. If you're playing against an aggro matchup that has those one attack or one health followers, then yes, this is actually going to be quite good. And then if it comes from the EX area or the grave, but there's no Spinarias in this deck, so it's literally just from the EX, then you get to boost its damage up to 2. This deck has no synergy with Fable followers, so don't think about that part. You're just getting the first part. This is a cheap beast that you're able to bounce, and that's a hard combo part of what the deck does. So yeah, that's pretty good. And then we move on to a new piece of support, Baby Carbuncle. So this is a 1 mana 0/1. Return a beast card on your field to the hand that's not named itself, and you draw a card. It's decent, and it's cheap. That's the whole reason you're playing it. It costs 1. This is, if we take a look, this is the only new card from the set, like set 16. So that's the really unbelievable part, is taking a look and asking, is this it, folks? If this is really that good, I mean, kudos to you. But it's just kind of hard to believe. But it's nice, you know, being able to consistently, like, let's say you play Baby Carbuncle for 1. Okay, and then you bounce something you already had. And then let's say you play that card, and then you play Nature's Guidance on the Baby Carbuncle. And then you play the Carbuncle again, bounce the card that you played, and then replay that card. Holy crap, we're up to combo 5 and you only spent 5 mana. That's probably the most unbelievable part about this card, is how fast you get yourself online, how aggressive this deck can really be. And kind of the reason why, if you see later, we even consider playing white Vanara, because this card can get huge really quickly. But I don't, the hard part for me, the part that I'm trying to understand and is kind of difficult for me to get there, is what turn is this guy going off on? That's the hard part here. But we'll get there. So then we're going to move on to the 2 costs. Easy to explain. Alice. It's been a staple from these for these Sekka lists. You know, comes from Chipper Skipper. You draw a card. If it's played from not the hand, you get to bounce something. That's pretty nice. And an easy 3 of. We have Chipper Skipper. So we play 3 Chipper, and then you get to Evo. Take a look at the top 4. Grab a card, put it into the EX that costs 2 or less, and then it costs 2 less to play. So it's really nice. And if you get the Mercenary in conjunction with this, you know, Chipper seems to be a pretty strong card in that instance. This deck runs less of that synergy, but it's still quite notable. You then have Elf of Queen of Abundant Life. It's okay, this format. I guess the reason you play this is because of Aggro Haven. You know, it's quite a nice tool. So when it comes out, it's a 2 mana, 1/2, combo 3 draw. Alright, that's fine. You Evo for 1. And then you get to select up to 2 enemy followers. You can deal 2 damage divided, or you can deal 4 damage divided. If you pick 1, you can deal 4. If you pick 2, you know you can do 3 and 1, 2 and 2. It's up to you. It's very flexible. And that's also a reason why it's quite nice. It's a cheap card, combo, it replaces itself, and it clears cards. What's there not to love? We then have Fina. As you can see, if we then take a look at the list, we have a lot of 1-drops. That is 10, 12 1-drops in our deck. Fina's incredible. Not only when Fina comes out is it going to be buffed by the Chipper Skipper, so that makes it a 4/3, incredible. In a pinch, you can destroy a 1-cost follower. Okay, that's also quite nice. But the biggest part is you get to tutor, that you get to look at the top 5 cards of your deck, grab a 1-cost follower, put it in your hand. And considering how much of our 1-cost followers are direct combo pieces, it's a very high quality card. Moving on, we have Windflower Tiger. I'm lying to you. I have been a big fan of this card ever since our local fella, Beans. He has been our forest player for quite some time. he had trended towards playing Beast Sekka during 12-13. And let me tell you, it's a pretty cute deck. It's pretty nice. So it's a 2-mana, 2/3 ward. You return a beast follower that is not named Windflower Tiger, so not itself, to the hand. And then you search your deck for a Salvia Panther. And so yeah, this is a 2-mana, 2/3 ward. Let's take a look at the other half. So notably, we do not play any other 3-drops besides Salvia Panther. So this costs 2 less to play if a beast follower not named Salvia Panther was put from hand, like returned to the hand. It's very interesting, right? It doesn't require that a very specific beast follower is put back into the hand. And that's the really cool part about this. Because even if the turn that you resolve Windflower Tiger, that's not the important part here. It's not necessary that you then play the Salvia Panther from hand. This is live at any time, folks. So the minute you resolve, let's say, a cheap Baby Carbuncle, as 1 mana bounce, a leftover beast. Maybe your opponent wasn't able to clear all of the ones you put out. In that instance, the Panthers you've been saving, maybe you drew one in your natural hand, added a second one, you now have 1 mana 3/2 Storm. In what world are you not happy with that? Be happy with that, please. And then if you have even more, if your abusable turns are even better than that, you can then, let's say, Nature's Guidance, the Baby Carbuncle, and then replay the Baby Carbuncle, bounce a Salvia Panther to your hand, replay it, play another one from your hand. That's 9 damage in 1 turn, folks. And it doesn't require any fancy setup. And each time you're resolving Carbuncle, you're drawing more cards. I am slowly falling in love with this deck. And I don't understand how there was this big of a man in Japan who really understood that this card just boosted the deck in a crazy way. But I'm loving it. This is really cool. So yeah, you play 3 of the Windflower Tiger, 3 of the Salvia Panther, and you can easily understand, or I hope you can, how abusable this card is, because it really shows that it's got some gas, folks. Moving on, we have standard forced entry number 3, Pure-Sai Queen of Frost. Alright, this card is good. It's good in fairies, it's good in the future Evo deck that's coming in set 18, and it's good here. If you have at least 3 face-up Evo followers in your Evo deck, you evolve this. And whenever a follower on your side of the field evolves, you deal 1 damage to each leader, 2 to the board, and you heal 1. That is 3 effects for doing something your deck's already going to be doing. Okay. If you get those 3 face-up Evo cards, you're Evoing by ability. Chances are you have your cheap Evos, maybe you went second. So chances are this secondary effect down at the bottom will be able to trigger more than once per turn. Because if this itself Evos, it sees itself Evo. So that's going to trigger. What happens when it Evos, you're asking? Well. We're going to take a look. So Pure-Sai Queen of Frost says, when it Evos, you take a look at your deck and find a follower that costs 2 or less, reveal and add it to your hand, and then shuffle. Interesting. That is pretty good. You get to tutor 80% of your deck off of this 1 card. Okay. Yeah. Outside of spells, alright, so maybe the percentage is a little bit lower, but hello. And then you're going to deal with the board, heal a little bit, who knows. And the chip damage is really important because, again, we're a storm strategy. So every part of Pure-Sai is incredible for this deck. So yeah, 3 makes a lot of sense. Also, we didn't cover, but there's 1 Salvia Panther. Evo, it's useful, you get to bounce something, but you're playing this for the first reason, not the second reason, folks. And now here is the card I've been waiting for, okay? This set 9 fella, alright? White Vanara. I cannot tell you how many I pulled when me and my friends in the Ottawa area opened a case of this set trying to play Dirt, okay? And while trying to do that, we pulled, I swear to God, like 3 or 4 of this guy, and we definitely pulled an SL, so I had to put it in here, folks. This card is so stupid. So, let's read him. He's a 4 mana 2/2. Yuck. Alright. But what else does he do? Let me get there. So whenever another follower is put onto your field, give this follower +1/+1. If that follower is a beast follower, however, gets +2/+2. All right. And then we already covered the amount of cheap cards that this deck has access to, right? That then we'll be able to bounce replay, and that's what the Carbuncle's here for, because not only does it bounce a beast follower, but it is one itself, so this will be able to recycle a cheap card. On top of that, it turns your Salvia Panther on, and it will buff the Vanara. So if you're doing this all on the same turn, let's say this is turn 7 going second. This sounds late, but this is what your finisher is, or at least it seems, or one of many. So you bounce a beast follower that's stuck around after you've already put in the white Vanara, so that costs 4, you have 3 left. You play the Carbuncle, bounce something cheap. Let's say you bounce the Shamu, okay? That leaves you with 2 mana left. This is now a 4/4. You play that Shamu. It's now a 6/6. And then you play a Salvia Panther from hand. This is an 8/8. You Evo, okay? So you use your Evo point. You're already hitting them in the face for 5. What else does he do? All right. So while this follower has at least 4 attack, it has Storm, or it has Ward. If it has 7, it has Storm. If it has 10, it ignores Ward. And Strike, you select an enemy follower on the field, deal it damage equal to this attack. That part's not important. We are definitely just doing this so we can hit them in the face for big damage. This originally was an 8/8 before we evoed, making it a 9/9. You're missing out on that Ward part, but if this is one turn later, who knows? He really could get that big, folks. And yeah, he can easily end games, especially against 7 cost, because they don't play quicks, right? We're getting to that point in the turn where it definitely will get big enough, but I think something that this guy realized, and I want to point this out for you, is the invention of a Super Evo token makes white Vanara significantly better. I said that you might have to wait for turn 8. No, folks. If we have access to a Super Evo token that we have not used, this card goes from what I already stated was originally an 8/8 before it evoed, 9/9 if it regularly evos, and if you Super Evo, now it's a 10/10. A 10/10 Ward Storm that also ignores Ward, and you originally, for this combo that I described, dealt 5 damage. This is a 15 damage combo that also draws you a card. Peak. Is that not incredible, folks? I think it is. I think the reason why this guy was convinced, and this might be a conspiracy theory, who knows, is the invention of the Super Evo token. And I really appreciate that. Isn't that wonderful? I think that is so creative. I think that is so cool that even right now, for new mechanics getting introduced, we have a completely obscure, borderline garbage card from set 9 that now actually has purpose and is genuinely not bad. That is a pretty simple late game combo that you can set up with this deck. And yeah, that's awesome. I could not be a bigger fan of this deck. If I could build it, if I had my Sekka package, if I had a Sekka package, I would be playing this, because this seems really fun. Also, what I forgot to cover is the Sekka spell. Pretty standard. You target a Sekka on the field. If you have 9 banished, gets +2/+2 in Storm. And then you select a follower with Sekka in its name, give it +2/+2, and then deal damage to a second follower equal to its attack. The main purpose of this Sekka engine is simply just something to do in the mid game. You're not dealing damage with it, right? You're not trying to kill them with Sekka in this deck. But as a filler turn, that is quite nice. Just being able to like bring something out. Maybe 5 damage is really important in this metagame. Who knows? But being able to do that for 4 mana total, 4 mana, 5/5, deal 5 damage to something. I'd pay that cost. You might too. And on top of that, you also get to use this spell in conjunction with the early guy. Maybe you buff this up to being a 3/3, clear something aggressively, hit them in the face for 3 damage early, and a 3/3 is not that easy to clear sometimes. So yeah, this is so cool. I don't know if I could rate this a 5 out of 5. My heart says I want to. Probably going to put it as a 4 out of 5 because Sekka has fallen widely out of favor. But is this a sleeper in the format? Yes. Is it cool? Absolutely. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. That means 4 out of 5 a boomfish. I will catch you next time. And again, this is part of our craft class series, which we're trying to put out before the Grand Showdown in Mississauga. And good luck if you're going, and I'll catch you next time. Peace. Yeah.